Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto, Willies. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto, Willies, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas, and good morning to the United States. Good morning to the entire world, getting to you through the magic of the internet, formerly known as ARPANET. Anyway, folks, we're going to have a great show for you today. It's kind of hairy today. Let me tell you guys, I had a humongous hard drive crash. My 2 terabyte drive crashed with all the data, etc., etc., etc. Luckily, everything was backed up to the cloud, and we are coming with a limited setup via laptop, extra screens, and all kind of stuff to make sure it still works. But anyhow, before and no further ado, let's move it on to El Estudio con los Genios. The geniuses in the studio, of course. That is El Señor Howard Reynolds and Jacques Van Beba.
And you are beeping this morning. I hear that in the background. Good morning, Egberto. It is Monday, the 3rd of February, 2025, and we are in Trump land. Yeah.
Oh, now, my God. Why did you have to say it?
Did the tariffs take place on Saturday? Did he put those into...
They start tomorrow, presumably.
Okay. Well, you know that Mexico and Canada are teaming up together to say, wait a minute, you're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to do this to us. So,
well, this guy's crazy. That's all I can say. This guy is crazy.
Yeah, well, in a bad way. There are crazy people that are kind of in a fun way, but not this time around. Jack has some wisdom here for us. I have nothing, so let's go to Jack.
I'm crazy in a fun way.
Yeah, you are.
All right. Good morning, Egberto. How are you?
I am doing fine, my brother. Talk to me.
All right. This is about General Milley. Army General Milley warns Congress to prepare for war. This is an ominous sign of what's to come. Trump has been in office 2 weeks, and the drumbeat for war has started. America, what have you done? You've changed from land of the free into an empire, and empires are built on the backs of the nations it conquers and the spoils of war. Come on, war.
Well, is there any more details on that? Did he say with whom, from whom, etc.?
Well, I guess that's easy to guess. We're at war with everybody, it seems. I mean, really, take your pick. China's obvious, I think that's what's going to come up after Ukraine. That'll be the next one.
Oh, boy. You don't want to go to war with China. That's a bad thing to do.
Well,
we already had our proxy war with China during the Korean War, and it was nothing nice.
No, and I was thinking the other day, recently, about China. They would be a good folks to be friends with, because you don't really want a war with the Chinese, proxy or otherwise. And also, when Donald Trump decided to take us out of the World Health Organization, it was based on, America's paying so much more. Well, I was looking it up, and the facts are that the World Health Organization's fees are based on GDP. We have probably $10 billion more in GDP than China does. So it's based on that, and that's only 20% of the actual budget for the World Health Organization. They take donations. I think Bill Gates gives them either 5 or 10% of their budget as a donation to them. So what are we picking fights with the dadgum World Health Organization for? What is that going to do? It's going to stop any type of medical stuff going on. And stuff that could serve the United States.
I am not sure what Trump think he's doing, but a lot of folks had said, well, the first time around, Trump didn't understand government and he didn't know what he's doing.
He still
but
doesn't.
This time,
he still does
That's
not.
What, you jumped me.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, 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 please. That is exactly what I was gonna say, man. It's amazing, Howard, that people want to say, well, he didn't know government, etc. Well, if this is what knowing government is interesting, let me tell you something that's coming down the pike, okay? Ebola has again raised its head. I think it's I don't remember what country in Africa that it has started to come out. And as you know, we have open travel with every country just about in the world. This happened during the Obama administration. And what he did is he sent people all over to sort of nip this stuff in the butt, give assistance to whatever country, technical and otherwise, to make sure that the spread of this thing was mitigated. So we got that mitigated. This is something we didn't do with COVID. We just kind of put our fingers in our ears and made believe that it would just go away. We now are out of the WHO, so we don't the World Health Organization, so we don't quite know what's going on, nor do we have influence in being able to do these things. People, elections matter, and putting smart folks in office matter. Whether you're ideologically aligned or not, your life is much more important than your ideology. So here's the deal. I'm going to start the show with let me first tell you the title of the show. It goes as follows. It says, Chaos at CDC. It also says, Joanne Reid exposes Trump DEI fraud and Rachel Maddow contrasts defense secretaries. I don't know if I'm going to get to all three. I don't even know if I'm going to get to two, but I want to start with the chaos at and fear at CDC because this one is something that uh, that the mainstream media, I hope, gets on board because it has a material effect on what our government is going to tell us going forward on science, on just about everything. We know that they lie on quite a bit, but just about everything. So the story is out of the of Common Dreams, one of the rags that I like to read, one of the rags I like people to. It's a progressive rag. I think everybody should read. We have to start democratizing our media. What I mean by that is we used to relegate everything to New York Times and the Washington Post and the LA Times and ABC, CBS, NBC, etc. But now we know that they are all in the game of coddling Trump. You all know that what happened with the LA Times. The LA Times decided that they weren't going to print their editor's choice of Kamala Harris as being the most appropriate person to be president based on on the two people that were running, or the two main characters that were running. We also know that the what Jeff Bezos also did at the Washington Post. We also know the complicity of the New York Times during the Iraq War. They are always seeming to be in bed with cross government and military industrial conflicts. So we have to make sure that we get information that is, I'm not going to say unbiased, because even information from me is coming in a biased modal. I am a progressive, and again, I always give a progressive slant to the news that I'm given, but there are other honest, uh, honest folks that are given info that are conservative that I respect as well. In fact, I follow a couple of them on Substack. But the idea is to tell the truth. The idea is not to hide anything from the American people. And that is what we are doing right now. Not only the government, the CDC and elsewhere, but many of our newspapers, the editors are scared to print certain things. The hosts are scared to report certain things, and where they believe they cannot control the host's words, they throw the host at midnight, as they did with the host at CNN. His name skips me right now, but I don't know if you remember his name from CNN that quit recently, Howard or not. But um, now he established himself an independent media network
well, not network, but an independent media information system at Substack, just like we are doing at Substack as well. We have John Lennon, Lemon, who also left and now has created his own small media enterprise to ensure that we're not going to be governed by corporate media that seems to be on the take from from Trump and from many within the corporatocracy. So anyway, I say all of that to say I get a lot of info as well from rags like Acosta. Thank you very much, Gail Kunis. Acosta from CNN, who left and formed their own Substack. On the chat, welcome aboard, Joe from California. We also have Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Atlanta, as well as Gail Kunis. Gail, I don't think you told me where you're from. Throw that in the chat. So I like to kind of see where we're getting all our listeners from as we listen. Okay. Anyway, here is the CDC. Or rather, here is the note from the CDC, and it goes as follows. Chaos and fear at CDC amid order to retract journal articles to purge forbidden terms. Subtitle, how can the government decide what words a journal can use to describe a scientific reality? That reality needs to be named, our journal editor said. Employees at the Center for Disease Control and Prevention have been ordered, I repeat, ordered to pull any articles under consideration for publication in medical or scientific journals so that they can be checked for certain forbidden terms, including gender, transgender, and LGBT. The order was sent in email to CDC division heads on Friday by the agency's chief science officer, a federal officer told Reuters on Sunday. So here you got it. The agency's chief science officers are telling folks to mislead. Inside Medicine broke the news on Saturday and provided a screenshot of the full list of terms that needed to be scrubbed. In other words, they're going through the entire CDC data set. That's thousands of pages of science. It sounds incredible that it's compatible with the First Amendment. A constitutional right has been canceled, Dr. Alfredo Moravia, editor-in-chief of the American Journal of Public Health, told Reuters. How can the government decide what words a journal can use to describe a scientific reality? That reality needs to be named. You know, it's funny that they decide to choose to remove names like, keywords like LGBT, transgender, Y, multiple. There are a lot of things they removed. But it's interesting that over the weekend I saw some science on gender, and they have where gender is not just controlled by X and Y chromosomes, but also what your body produce, which allows certain genitalia or not to grow. It allows many times two sets of genitalia to grow. So this stuff that you have these right wingers that come out and they say there's just one sex, male and female, and they disregard folks that don't feel who they are, and they say that's just psychological problems, and don't throw this or fix this on us for us to force ourselves to believe. It's not about you believing a damn thing. It's just about how reality is, and asking folks to not be real because of our own prejudices and things that we don't know. As I pointed out often, and I say it often, hoping that by myself saying it, other people would give it a second thought. I came from a country that had a lot of prejudices against both women and gender assignments. That's where I came from. But after doing the responsible thing to learn, to educate myself, to understand that not because for centuries we believed something, that there was a different reality, a real reality. And what Donald Trump is attempting to do with his administration and being the executive is to say, whatever I believe is science is going to be science. Whatever I believe is true is going to be true. Whatever I believe to be will be to be. And that is a clear and present danger to all of us. Because at that point in time, we're no longer basing what we believe on reality. We're not basing what we believe on science. And that is a danger. The rest of the world moves on as we decide to become troglodytes or decide to recede into ignorance. It's not a good thing, and it will ultimately hurt us. A few days ago, we spoke about what he has done by degreening everything that has to do with the federal government, sort of similar to what Reagan did when he came into office and removed solar panels from the White House. What he did when he simply dismantled anything that Jimmy Carter did relative to green energy, relative to moving us forward off of fossil fuels. And we are living through the results of that, the change in weather that affects us all. Yesterday, I was watching a piece on turbulence in the sky. I think it was done on CNN. And this was just a piece describing reality. It had nothing to do with ideology. It just said what's happening. And between the last 20 years and the former 20 years, things like very bad turbulence have gone up by 50-something%. We see the temperatures that are afflicting the earth right now. We see the levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere right now. These are discernible, these are measurable. And we can actually know the carbon in the air, where it's coming from. Is it coming from plants? Is it coming from burning? If it's coming from fossil fuels, we can identify where these things are coming from. And to put our heads in the sand, not realizing what's being done, is not only a disservice to us as Americans, but it's a disservice to the world, because you know what? Our smoke, or India's smoke, or China's smoke doesn't stay in America, India, and China, respectively. Let me continue with the article where it says, the order is an attempt to ensure that the CDC is in compliance with U.S. President Donald Trump's executive order mandating that the U.S. government only recognize two sexes, male and female. The papers will be withdrawn so that Trump's appointee can do what Trump's appointee is going to do. All right. Continuing with that, we have the order covers both papers under consideration. And this is a dangerous thing. Here's what they say. The order covers both papers under consideration and those accepted but not published. According to Reuters, if a CDC employee worked on a paper with non-governmental scientists but did not initiate, they have been asked to remove their names. Look, I mean, that is the height of ignorance. I mean, if you are working on a scientific paper and you're going to put that paper out there, to remove the government scientist's name from it is pretty much lying to the public, because what you want whenever you have these papers out there is traceability. When I pick up an article, or when I pick up something and I want to validate it, and I see who the authors are, I can make a lot of assumptions. I can say, well, if this was written by Robert Reich, then I understand that there's likely this slant within the paper. Or I can also point out that, and Robert Reich, given that he was Labor Secretary, he understands this concept, so I can give that a particular level of authority. When you start doing things like removing the people who were involved because of Donald Trump's wishes, that, folks, is sick. That is sick. And that is Orwellian. Anyway, the new order is separate from a demand 2 days into the administration that government health agencies, included CDC, freeze all communications with public. It follows reports on Friday that CDC web pages and data sets involving HIV, the LGBTQ community, youth health, and other topics were no longer accessible as the agency attempts to comply with the Trump executive order on transgender identity and another on banning government diversity, equity, and inclusions. I want to read you some of the things that can't be on the government website. These are some of the words: gender, transgender, pregnant person, pregnant people, LGBT, transsexual, non-binary, assigned non-binary, assigned male birth, assigned female at birth. I mean, if those phrases are found in articles on the CDC website, they are scrapped. But luckily, it is Orwellian. It really is. Stephen Wolf, Director Emeritus at Senior Advisor at Virginia Commonwealth University Center on said. In response to the purges, scientists, journalists, and public health advocates have worked to preserve the data set. And with everything on the CDC website as of January 27th, 2024, preserved at acasynapse.net, and downloaded data sets are also available on Jessica Valenti's Substack, Abortion Every Day. And let me tell you a little secret of the internet. There's a part of the internet called the Wayback Machine. It's the Internet Archive. Whenever somebody publishes a page, whether you or anybody in the world publishes a page, the Internet Archive, it's another company, I think it's a nonprofit company, Wayback Machine, it keeps a copy of these pages. So let's say I write something on the internet, and let's say 2 days later I change that page. I can still see the old version of that page. I can see the new version of that page. I can see the current version of that page. And you can find that. And let me give you guys, if you get your pencils together, get your pens, get your pads, get your notepad on your Apple machine or your Instagram, on your Android machine or whatever. You can always go to web.archive.org. So whenever you are searching government pages going forward, and let me repeat this is very important, folks. Understand that the executive is Donald Trump. He runs our executive branch of government right now, and he has a lot of power to run the executive. Unless Congress passes a law that forbids Trump from doing what he's doing by lying to you even with government websites, he has the power to do it, the legal power to do it. As such, the only options you have to see all the stuff that was in the past that actually had valid information is whenever you get a web page from the government, go check it out at web.archive.org. Simply take that URL and stick it into web.archive.com. And .org, web.archive.org. And when you put that URL in there, you will get all the versions of that particular government page. So you will be able to see the changes these guys are making on these pages to ill-inform you, to disinform you, and to misinform you. That still exists, and you should have full access to the Wayback Machine at web.archive.org. Okay? So folks, they're going to make the truth more difficult to get, but for those of us listening or looking for the truth, it's still findable, it's still searchable. That is the truth of the past. The truth going forward requires that you continue to listen to us, read what we write. I'm talking about the truth, the real truth tellers, because folks, the master lying, the master deception, the goal is to change your reality so they can control you. And this is not conjecture. This is not hyperbole. It's actively being done, and we're constantly monitoring it. As you know, tariffs are going to be going into effect tomorrow on Tuesday on Canada and Mexico. Let me point out something very important to all of you, because a lot of folks thought, oh, Trump is not going to do it, or Trump is going to back down, etc. I want to tell you what I spoke to Weems of the Journeyman yesterday on Substack. We had a interview, and what I explained to him was, while a lot of people are sitting back believing that Trump and these tariffs are nothing more than a bully effort to do I don't know what, this is a real effort. Let's understand what's going on right now, because this is very important. What's going on right now is very important. Trump has decided that he wanted the reconciliation bill passed quickly. In other words, he wanted to throw a whole lot of stuff, a humongous tax cuts, and all these other things that he wants to give away to the corporatocracy. And you see Bezos sitting by his side, kissing his butt, and you see Zuckerberg by his side, kissing his butt. All these guys are doing that. Let me tell you what's going on here, folks. Tariffs are paid for by you. In other words, when Donald Trump puts tariffs on different products, the price of those products are going to be raised in two ways. If you're buying American products that mimic those products that you're importing, those products are going to go up in price because the competition has increased in price from Canada, Mexico, or China. The other thing that he wants to do is, because it's not China paying into the treasury, it is you. Your eggs are going to go up. Your gasoline is going to go up. Your everything is going to go up. So you are giving Trump more money. All the MAGA folks are giving Trump more money for that government. And that money, because he doesn't have the votes, the 60 votes, to pass a tax cut the way he wants to do it. But what he has is reconciliation. So if he can find money elsewhere, when Congress writes the bill, it can be done via reconciliation, because they have found money. And where did they find the money? The tariffs. And who pays the tariffs? You do. MAGA does. And when you pay that tariff, from all the poor people and the middle class people that are going to pay that tariff, that tax cut then goes to the wealthy. People don't say, but everybody's going to get a tax cut. No, they won't. You may get a nominal tax cut, a very small one, but that tax cut you're going to pay back in inflation, called tariffs. People, what Trump does is smoke and mirrors. The idea is to fool you into believing I am on your side. But when you catch them in private, he tells all the rich people that he has dinner with, you guys are going to love me. Why are you guys going to love me? Because I'm giving you your tax cut. And where am I getting the money to pay for it? Because I can't deficit spend for it, because it's reconciliation, man. I can't change the methodologies because it's reconciliation. So I'll do it via what again? Tariffs. And who pays the tariffs? You do. Let's go to Lewis. Lewis, line 2.
Good morning.
Lewis, you're on line 2.
Yeah,
Brother Lewis, come on in.
I'm here. Good morning. How
Good morning,
are you?
sir. Talk to me.
Looking at that web.archive.org, you're right. I did see a lot of truths out there. I saw Hillary Clinton did delete all those emails, and that Donald Trump did win the election twice, in 2016 and in 2024, and that Adam Schiff did lie and say that he had rock solid evidence on Donald Trump when it came to Russian collusion, which was a lie. You're right. I did see a lot of truths out there.
Well, you know what's interesting, Lewis? In you trying to mock what we're doing, you actually lied
I'm not
again.
mocking it. It's right there on the web.
No, but what I'm
archive.
saying, what I'm saying, my dear
You're
Lewis,
mocking me by saying it's not
I
there.
I cannot take you seriously. You see, the good thing about it is I know what I speak about, right? I am not echoing what other people tell me to echo, which is what you're doing. Because the mere fact that you had the nerve, Lewis, on this program, we speak one at a time. Decide whether you want to do that or not.
You're mocking me by saying that that's not true.
All right. One more time, Lewis. When I speak, you are quiet. When you speak, I'll be quiet.
Okay.
Okay?
Shut up. Okay, got it.
Thank you. Exactly. Now,
go ahead.
What you completely did on this program was to use our airwaves to lie. And in the process of doing that, I think...
That's not true.
Okay. Again, I told him not to interrupt, so let's get rid of Lewis and go to Harry. Come on in, Harry.
Hello?
How are you doing, my brother?
Hi. This is Harry's brother, Alan. We've spoken before.
Alan! So we finally spoken. We're finally speaking, Alan. Talk to me.
Yeah, well, what I want to know is, listen. For all the MAGA people out there, Donald Trump's main selling point when he ran for president in 2016 was he was going to get all these great deals for the United States. Now, as I understand it, a deal is about one side negotiates one thing on their behalf, the other side negotiates something on that other behalf. I don't see any negotiating or any deals. What I see is Donald Trump ramrodding things through, whether it's the Panama Canal, whether it's the WHO. Where are the deals? Where are the deals? I see nothing.
Exactly. Let me tell you, there are no deals. Let me just say something. Let me stop you for a second, Harry.
Sure, go ahead.
There's a caller. I mean, not Harry, Alan. Before you finish, Alan, there's somebody that's constantly calling our 3 o'clock number. Please call. I know that's what's on the screen. I made a mistake. Please go ahead and call 713-526-5738. The number is 713-526-5738, and we will get to you, my friend. The wrong number is on the screen. I apologize for that. The number is 713-526-5738. Oh, I think what somebody's telling me is that they can't hear me on the internet. I'll get that fixed in a minute. Go ahead. Continue, Alan.
Well, I'm just saying when Donald Trump was campaigning, he talks about what a nice man Dr. Carson was, but that Donald Trump could get all the great deals and all. Where are the deals with China? Where are the deals with Panama? Where are the deals with the rest of the world? All I see is force feeding and ramrodding. He's threatening President Ramaphosa in South Africa, which, we should get into that. I don't want to get into that about taking people's land, but,
Right.
We both know what that's really based on.
Right, I got you.
I'm trying to see where are the MAGA people to talk about the deals that Donald Trump has gotten. All we're getting is a bunch of ramrodding and fisting and force feeding, and that's my question. I mean, anybody out there, please elucidate that. Where are
I read you. There are no deals that you're going to get. In fact, Donald Trump told everybody that he was going to be saving their. I mean, there's a lot that he was going to do that he's simply not going to do. Correct?
Yes, but he's missed the art of the deal for the last 35 years. He's talked about, he's the great deal maker. Where's the beat? For those of us who remember that ad campaign, from way back when, I'm sure you do, Egberto, where is the beat?
Right, exactly.
Where's the beat?
Exactly. I read you, my friend. I read you. But anyhow, thank you very much. Let's go ahead. I appreciate you, my friend. Let's go to Richard Hanna. Come on in, Richard.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing fine, my
Hello?
friend. Talk to me.
You asked me to call you in the morning at like 6. I was
I
like,
told you to wake up in the morning. You went to, there's a big event that occurred yesterday that you attended. Why don't you tell me about that as I try to fix this stuff with the folks on the internet not hearing the other side?
well, it was a bigger than anticipated rally yesterday for immigrant rights put on by FID, local immigrants' rights organization. I started off at E2 Park, South Dunleavy, which was interesting because that neighborhood was a large Latino neighborhood at one time, and now it's all gentrified. They had an incident there years ago, and after that incident happened, they cleaned the park, so to speak, and then that neighborhood slowly went to being to keep the Latinos in apartments to stay in the neighborhood and worked at the restaurants and all around that area are now mostly gone because of gentrification. But that's not the issue.
Mm-hmm.
We had the immigrants rally yesterday was really big, and they marched from E2 Park off Dunleavy all the way to Herman Park, and I did not think it was going to be as big as it was, but it was, and people came out of the woodworks, and not just the Latino community. It was black, white, black Americans, white Americans, Caribbeans, all came out to voice their feelings on what's going on because all are affected. I thought it was interesting. A little girl was talking about her parents being deported and the fear they have, and the fear now that her immigration status might be put at stake because she was born here. And now they're talking about taking that away. And so it's a lot of fear. It's people that's been hiding. They don't come out. They've been taking kids out of the schools. They've been taking kids out of daycare because of the fear that what to do if the parents are taken away. Where are the kids going to go? HISD has not stated what their position is on that subject, on what they plan to do if a parent is taken away and the kid is left at the hands of the school administrators.
Right.
And that's something that needs to be pushed too. HISD really needs to come out and say something about what exactly they're going to do. But I've seen rallies for years in Houston, and this was a spontaneous rally actually. It was organized. And
I saw them on the bridge yesterday off of 59, the Southwest Freeway as well.
Right. They had so many people, they had to block streets off.
Yeah.
And people, it was funny. When I left to go to the end of the parade because they were marching at Herman Park, it was still people showing up.
Right.
It was supposed to start at 3, and people were still showing up even after 3:00. And it was something beautiful to see, but it was also something that was very serious. It's a party. It's kind of a party-like atmosphere, but people are dead serious, and people are there really, really. Don't want to give their names.
Right.
You interview them. You don't, like, whoa. I don't know who you are.
Well, look, thank you, Richard. I got to go to some other calls, but I'm running out of time. But I have to go ahead real quick.
It's a lot of hysteria also being put out there, by people that are not in their best interest. And that's something that needs to be talked about. So people need to find out the real information and not just go on hysteria.
Thank you very much, Howard. I mean, calling you Howard. Thank you very much, Richard. I keep doing that reporting, my brother. We'll talk about it later. Thank you. Let's go to brother Robin. Robin, come on in.
Hi, I'm Robin. Can you hear me?
Oh, Robin, Sister Robin, come on in. I can hear you.
Yes, I'm your sister. sister, Robin, from Indianapolis. I can almost never hear you all live, but I've been listening for months and feel a part of the posse. My main reason for calling last week, I'll give you a very brief background. Indianapolis, I'm self-employed. I'm married to a Mexican man who we've gotten the permanent resident card, and I have two children, 11 and 14, with him, and it's greatly affecting my family, my community, and my neighborhood. But my main message is to several of your callers. One, I heard Joe from LA, and she was just anger and heartbroken. And I wanted to tell her that she said something that has stuck with me. The antidote to despair is action. And I just want to, remind her of those words. And I am with her on talking to the other white women and trying to I don't know. I'm just talking to white women and anybody about this stuff now. And then I really enjoy Ray, and I think it's Magner. I learn from them all the time. And a message to Brian. I don't know you. The little bit that I've heard your voice and talking, and I just want you to know that it's possible that, or maybe you should know that anger can be an addiction, and you might want to look into being addicted to anger. And those are my main messages. I don't know much about what's being said. I'm actually working and needing to get on to the next job. So thank you for taking my call.
Kindly for calling in, Robin. And yes, you will always be a member of the PDR Posse, sister. Thank you so kindly for calling in. And look, what Robin just spoke about, and what Joe mentioned about, you don't feel despair. And look, guys, I can't get the sound on the internet. I honestly don't know what's wrong, because we have a new setup that I had to rush and put together at midnight. So I don't know what's going on, so forgive me. You can hear the sound at kpft.org, kpft.org. You can listen to the sound live there. And if you want to have the video up as well, you can do that. But the sound is live at kpft.org. Sorry about that. I'll try to have everything fixed tomorrow. I couldn't help that crash that occurred. But yes, what our sister just said is action. Don't feel despair, action. And the message that she had for Brian and folks that are simply angry. And what I loved hearing for her is that she wasn't coming out to attack. She was coming out to say, hey, look, anger can be an issue. And that is caused by, again, misinformation, what they're doing to our brothers and sisters that came across the border. The hypocrisy of that, especially given the genesis of this country, is just amazing. But today is supposed to be a day when a whole lot of Latinos stay home to show what it would be like in this country to be without. But I don't know if there's going to be enough folks to do it to really make a difference yet. But America could not possibly live without all these folks that Trump is attempting to send back. Bruce, come on in.
Good morning, Egberto.
Good morning, my brother. Talk to me.
Donald Trump is afraid that the FAA is going to be full of FOMODs. A FOMOD's a female minority, one-legged dwarf transsexual with schizophrenia. And Marjorie, I want to say my uncle was a veterinarian. So according to Donald Trump, science runs in the family. I must know science. So I'm going to give my conspiracy theory. My conspiracy theory about COVID is that Marjorie Taylor Greene bought stock in the pharmaceuticals and then had space laborers burn a hole in the Wuhan lab window and release it to make money. Anyway, that's all I got. I thought I'd cheer you up with that.
Bruce, that was so funny. That was funny. You take care, my brother. I mean, look, if this stuff weren't pathetic, I don't know. I mean, the thing about it is, I sit down and wonder, right? Come on, come on. I wrote the book, How to Talk to Your Right Wing Relative. It's worth it. How to Talk to Your Right Wing Relative Friends and Neighbors. And why I did that? Because I want to engage everybody, right? And there are certain truths that are absolute, and but you can't get it into people absolutely, right? So what you try to do is you try to build trust and try to ask these people to answer questions. And if they decide that they want to answer it honestly, you can get somewhere. And that's what I found. There are two groups of folks that are out there. Those who are genuinely ill-informed, that when informed, they sit back and say, oh my God, I didn't know that. Was I ill-informed? I've been ill-informed on a whole lot of things during my life. The one thing that I made sure to do is after I learned, I made sure to learn and execute thereafter. Some people seem to be simply seem to choose not to learn, and that is sad. Let's go to Bard. Come on in, Bard.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I am doing fine, sir. Talk to me.
Well, I just had a couple questions. My first question was for you. You were talking about the genders.
Yes,
and
sir.
I was wondering if you could tell me how many genders are there?
I don't know because even the Bible doesn't know, right? No, I don't. I honestly don't know. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you from a scientific point of view why I don't know, sir. Are you ready for this? You can have XY. You can have XY chromosomes, and which is I think it's a female. I don't remember which one. I don't remember the order. But anyway, you can have the chromosome that says you are female and come out with male genitalia. You can have people with two genitalia. I mean, there are a lot. And by the way, genitalia is not the only thing that defines gender, but there are a whole lot of these combinations that, as we decide to learn, not go into the past of what we didn't know, but as we learn more things, we find out. So I don't know. The answer is I am not competent to answer that question. What's your other question?
All right. Thank you for that. The other question was for the immigrant. I think his name was Richard, talking about the rallies.
Richard Hanna. No, he's not an immigrant. Richard is an American, and he's a honored member of the KPFT family. He's a reporter. Thank you.
Okay. Well, then I was wondering why the immigrants at the rallies are waving the flag, the Mexican flag, if they don't want to go back to Mexico.
Well, because they are of Mexican heritage, for the same reason that we wave the flag in Panama. We wave the American flag in Panama. Americans come down to Panama, and even outside of the state of apartheid that they created on the Canal Zone between between the 1900s and the 2000s, they waved the flags inside and outside of Panama, and we welcome that. We welcome that as long as it's done respectfully and not in a colonial form of being. So, I mean, there's not a problem with Mexicans waving a Mexican flag, Canadians waving a Canadian flag, Spanish doing a Spanish flag. It shows that we are a country of many different identities that came together to form a better union. Anything else?
Yeah, there is a problem with that. You wave the American flag or just go back to where you want to go.
Yeah, I know that's how you would like to think, but unfortunately, Americans are not doing that around the world. So, I mean, what's good for the goose should be good for the gander. I know that you don't go around the world often, but I can tell you that other countries, Americans are very well liked, very well respected, and allowed to show their pride in their heritage. Some people only have American heritage as they know it. Other people like myself have 3 or 4 different heritages, and I love and respect them all, America being my latest heritage. Anything else, sir?
So that's it. If you come here just to assimilate, become an American, or get out. That's the rule.
Well, no, hold on a second. That is what somebody like you, who has little concern for true humanity, would say. But for the rest of us, we don't have this patriotic fallacy that says we must abide by an American flag. After all, look at how we were formed. But again, you don't understand that either. My dear brother, have a great day. Let's go to Brian.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. How's everything doing?
Oh, we're doing fine, sir. Talk to me.
Okay. Friday, you wanted to compare Pete Hegseth against Lloyd Austin, correct?
There's no comparison, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You do know that Pete swam from the shore to the Statue of Liberty by himself. Did Lloyd Austin ever do that? No, he didn't. You also forgot to mention Lloyd Austin was in charge of the greatest disaster ever taken by the U.S. military by leaving $65 billion worth of military assets to the enemy.
Okay, here's the deal. Listen, let me tell you. Let me tell you.
Excuse
no,
me.
You're done talking. You're done talking. Because what you're saying is gibberish. I am no longer going to tolerate the fallacy that we can somehow compare Hegseth's record with Lloyd Austin. I will no longer tolerate that discussion. I'm not, sir. I'm done. I am done. We will no longer make look. I've lived this crap. Okay, where huge accomplishments try to be compared to a lightweight because of prejudice, racist people. I am sorry. We're not going to have that on air. There's no comparison between Lloyd Austin and Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth is a lightweight, inexperienced, womanizing drunk. I am not going to allow a comparison between him and the honored Lloyd Austin. And this is not up for debate. This is just reality. This is just how it is. The reason why so much of this gets into the ethos is that we entertain ridiculous statements of comparative analysis by someone like Brian trying to make a case that's impossible to make. It's impossible to make that comparison between Lloyd Austin and Hegseth. There's no comparison. And the same way there's no comparison between Donald Trump and any other president that we've had. Yes, he's president. Yes, he was elected based on more than likely prejudice and sexism, prejudice caused by sexism and racism. But that doesn't change the reality that he is definitely not equipped to have the office that he has, and that we all will pay for the mistake that many Americans have made in putting somebody like that into office. Now we got to live with it. One of the things I wanted to talk about is an article that I read, Fareed Zakaria's message after working class voters ditched the Democrats, good riddance. I consider that one of the most elitist statements out there. In other words, Zakaria, who I like, very intelligent guy, is telling the Democratic Party, hey, just give up on the working class. To hell with the working class. You already have the college educated. You already have most of the minorities. You can actually build a framework because you've been trying to get the working class, and those people aren't coming to you. And let's be frank here. Whenever you hear people talk about the working class, in effect, they're talking about the white working class that the Democratic Party has pretty much lost. And he's telling the Democratic Party, just call it a day. Look, you've been winning popular majorities with minorities, college educated, and maybe a plurality of women. So why not just stick with the program and ditch the working class, which I say that is ridiculous. And Les Leopold, who wrote the article, talks a whole lot about the stuff that we talk about all of the times. The biggest mistake the Democrats have ever done was to cede the working class to Republicans, was to cede people in rural areas to Republicans. And the narrative is that these people are so damn racist. These people are so backwards, sexist, uneducated that somehow you can't really reach them. You give them the facts and they don't accept the facts and all of that. But then when Les Pold brought out some polls, you realize that no, the working class are just as progressives as those of us who are progressive in the things that they're asking for. Why the hell would you abandon the working class? That makes no sense. I've constantly said over and over and over again that what we need to do is every hospital that is closing to go into rural America, earn those votes. Obama proved one thing, and I've told you guys this message before. I knew Obama was going to win when he went into one of the most, what one would consider racist part of Pennsylvania. And when the canvasser asked, who are you voting for? The person said, we're voting for the N-word guy. His economy was over his racism. He believed that Obama, in as much as he was prejudiced against Obama, that he was going to do well by him economically. You don't give up on anybody. Racism is a tool that the Republicans have learned how to use against Democrats in with the working class. The silliest thing one can do is to give up on any demographic. If Democrats want to win, go to rural areas, go into Appalachia, go everywhere and start investing in people and stop investing or being the stooge of corporations. That is my message of the day. Howard, you're on, my brother.
Okay, I was just thinking about the bailout of Vietnam from Richard Nixon. There wasn't any type of pushback on how much equipment we left back there that I heard of. I remember that. It was 73. Yeah, I was 18 years old then. And they were just so glad to get out of Vietnam and get away from that stuff. So, Brian, I don't know about you, man. I don't know. Okay, that's about all I got. Jack, you got anything? Jack says no, and it's time for you to take it home, Egberto.
Well, look, guys, I'm sorry for the mishaps that we had today. We're working from a very small system, bringing this out. I'll try to have everything working by tomorrow if I'm able to. Otherwise, I'll try to fix whatever it is that I need to fix here. Folks, I love you all. Thank you, callers, all of you. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It. As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willies.
Welcome to